Hey seniors, welcome to day one of our new unit. It's going to be very algebra based, so I think you guys are really going to like it. It's going to be very correlated to what you guys are going to do in high school. So let's go ahead and jump right in. On your notes page, go ahead and draw your line. In the top left-hand corner, go ahead and write solving equations. You don't need to write this down yet, just be with me, I'll tell you what to write. So when I'm solving equations, my first step is to find my variable. Go ahead and write a 1 and then find your variable on your notes page. And a variable is just a substitute for a number. It's normally in the form of a letter. So a variable could be the letter X, A, W, T, any letter that's in place of a number. My second step is to combine like terms. Definitely write that one down on your notes page. When I mean combine like terms, I mean combine all the variables and all the constants. And a constant is normally just a normal number in an equation, like the number 12 or 13, any number that doesn't have a variable. And then whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. This is going to make more sense when we get to examples. My third step is to isolate my variable. Definitely write that one down on your page because that's basically the process that we go through to solve the equation. And our fourth step is to check our work by plugging the answer back into the original equation. Just write a 4 and then check your work. Let's go ahead and do an example. This will make much more sense. All right, go ahead and write example 1, and then 15 equals 11 plus b. Now, I'm thinking to myself immediately, I already know what b is, because I know a number, when added to 11, that will give me 15. But let's use algebra to prove that. So I know my first step is to identify my variable. Well, my variable is b. I already did that. My next thing is to combine like terms. Well, on both sides of the equation, all like terms are already combined, so I don't need to worry about that. My next step is to isolate my variable, which is b. So I need to get rid of this 11 on this side. And since 11 is positive, if I want to get rid of it, I'm going to do the inverse operation, which is subtraction, and subtract it to get rid of it. And I know whatever I do on one side, I have to do on the other side. So if I subtract 11 on one side, I have to also subtract 11 on the other side. My 11s will cancel out. 15 minus 11 is 4, and then I'm just left with b. So b equals 4. I could also write it like this. It means the same thing. Now my last step is I could check my work to make sure that I have the right answer. So let's go ahead and plug 4 back in for b. So 15 equals 11 plus 4. And then again, all I did there was plug 4 back in for b. So 15 stays the same on this side. 11 plus 4 is 15. And since both sides equal the same thing, I know that I was correct in saying b equals 4. All right, go ahead and write example 2, and then m over 4 equals 2. Immediately I know I have to identify my variable, which is m. I don't need to combine like terms because everything is already combined. All I have to do now is isolate my variable, which is m. And since m over 4 is a fraction, that means that I have a division operation because it's a fraction, right? So if I want to get rid of this 4, I need to do the inverse operation, which is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 4, because whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side. My 4's will cancel out, and that just leaves me with m. And m is the same as 1m. That's the same thing. But we can just write it as m. And then on this side, 2 times 4 is 8. So m equals 8. Again, if I want to check my work, I can just plug 8 back in for m in our original equation to see if I was correct. So let's go ahead and do that. So 8 over 4 equals 2. Well, I know that 8 divided by 4 equals 2, and since both sides equal the same thing, I know I was correct in saying m equals 8. Let's do another. All right, go ahead and write example 3, and then negative 12 equals negative 8 plus y. My first step is to identify my variable, which is y. I don't need to combine like terms because everything on both sides is already combined. So then my next step is just to isolate y. So I need to get rid of this negative 8. In order to get rid of a negative 8, I need to do the inverse operation and add 8. And if I add 8 on one side, I also have to add 8 on both sides. So my 8's will cancel out on this side. Negative 12 plus 8 is going to leave me with negative 4, and that equals y. And again, if I write it like this, it means the same thing. All right, let's go ahead and check our work by plugging -4 back in for y. So if I have -12 equals -8 plus -4. My -12 comes down, that stays the same. -8 plus -4 is -12. So since both sides equal each other, I was correct in saying that y equals -4. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me today. Remember, our whole process here is all about identifying our variable and then isolating it to get our answer. So let's go ahead and practice.